Eyes on Longmont, offering a diversity of topics about our community that will inform and entertain you. We invite you to sit back and enjoy this edition of Eyes on Longmont.
The very foundation of this project showed up 13 years ago when I was building a 8-foot tall, 4,000-pound rooster, and two veterans showed up from the Iraqi war, one from Desert Storm and the other a younger vet from Iraqi Freedom, I believe it was. And one was a Black Hawk helicopter pilot who had some intense experiences in Iraq, and the other was a Marine turned Air Force major who ran the 810 Warthog fighter planes. He did all the maintenance and set up the airports or the airport for the A-10s to be in Desert Storm, and he commanded a squadron of pilots. They showed up at my door one day when I was building this rooster. I didn't expect it, but they showed up. It was kind of their shadow just cast across my cutting field as I was cutting farm tools into feathers for this rooster. And they asked a very simple question. It's like, hey, can we come help do that? I said yes in a heartbeat. And the three of us became this amazing team. And in the process of building the sculpture, gave up the creative side of things and said, you guys just decide where the feathers go, you decide how to pound them, I'll be the feed, I'll bring hot metal over to you, you pound it in, you weld it, and we passed those jobs around back and forth, and we had a great time. And we were all sharing the creative process of building that rooster. The interesting part about that, making this rooster right here, me as a civilian got to be introduced to two veterans who had experienced battle, deep war, intense war, and it literally changed my mindset. I didn't go to Vietnam. I'm Vietnam era. I didn't go to Vietnam because I got out by the draft, by the skin of my teeth. When that happened, I let myself off the hook for everything to do with the war. Just shielded my psyche against it, and like many civilians do, and I paid no attention. But what happened when those two guys, those two veterans, those two combat veterans showed up at my shop, that spun my world around.
I was enlisted in the Marine Corps for 4 years, got out as a sergeant, and I had a break in service, went to school, and then went joined the Air Force as an officer. I was an aircraft maintenance officer for 17 years and did that.
Coming home, and then when you lay your head on the pillow, you know, it's like the demons that show up, or in Danny's words, the ghosts. And that changed my frame of mind.
And most of my time was combat experience was in the Air Force. We were one of the first squadrons over in Desert Shield, Desert Storm. We took 2 squadrons over there trying to keep these airplanes down, and I was over there for 8.5 months. We didn't take what the Army did, and the Marine Corps did, but we took 25 Scud attacks and had sappers throwing things over the fences. And the second to last night of the war, we had a huge Scud get hit, and basically a huge piece come down and took out a barracks. And I was on working nights that whole time, and I was one of the first on the scene, so yeah, it was pretty shocking. It was pretty rough. We lost by about 34 people that night.
The day that I get to wake up in the morning next to my wife and my young child, it's a day that, you know, my friends, you know, that passed away over there, that they're not going to get. You know, every holiday spent with the families, every new experience, and so I figure, you know, one of the things that kind of helped me move on or move forward and was that I owe it to them to continue to live my life. If I get stagnant, if I get stuck, or if I even regress, you know, in my progression of life and learning and wisdom, then I'm not doing them a service. You know, they died for, you know, not only for you know, the defense of their country, but also you know, so that others can live, right? And if you're not living your life, then you're not honoring their deaths. You're not honoring the fallen.
But Danny, you know, kind of grabbed me by the shoulders, and he looked me straight in the eye, and he says, "What do we get to do next?" And again, in a heartbeat, not thinking about it, not really understanding what that question really meant, I said, "Well, we're going to do something about you guys." And so I said to Brad, I said, "Look, we need something that's tangible. We need something to represent that part of you that is both positive or powerful and also intensely destructive." Well, I can't build a demon, because what is it? And besides that, a demon is all negative. It's just, there's nothing redeeming about a demon.
For that, what's next? And the 3 of us come up with this idea of basically, how can we represent the warrior in war, and then something to represent the transformation that happens if a warrior is willing to step into the fire of what happened and really look at it. And that's when we come up with the dragon and the phoenix.
Came from Brad, it's like, "Let's do a damn dragon." And it's like, "Yeah, I could do a dragon with you. Let's do a dragon." And so we decided that the dragon would be representing the warrior in all of his or her stages. So the 3 of us started. And we started with a small wire frame, and we made this ugly dragon and immediately threw it away and realized we needed to think more. And so we went to yet another frame.
You know, if we were just coming out here and just, you know, randomly picking up metal pieces and cutting them up and heating them up and welding them together, and, you know, without direction, then it wouldn't be very therapeutic. You know, and the vision that Robert provides us is it's clear in a way, but it also is flexible enough to allow you to insert your own creativity into it and your own thoughts into that process. And
that's it. Go, you're all right, go. No, get in close, much closer. There you go. Now do your round. All right. Okay, let off the oxygen. All right.
It's about listening, it's not about helping.
Yeah, and that Robert talks about expressing these, or internalizing these stories and expressing it through his work. For me, I can't speak for all the veterans associated with this, but for me, it's an outlet for me as well, because he doesn't he won't speak up to this, but he does provide leadership and he does provide guidance.
Yeah, I was part of a local veterans group. It was called Veterans Helping Veterans, and I had been involved in it for several years. And one day, a local artist showed up and said he had an idea for a project involving veterans, and he called it the Warrior Story Field.
While I was with a group called the Patriot Guard, which was a group of motorcycle riders who would go to funerals of soldiers and such, but I never felt a part of that because I was a civilian and never served, and that was something that was really not so much accepted.
So what brought you to the project, the Warrior Story Field?
This will sound strange, but when I say it this way, it's true. Bobby married my daughter.
Oh, okay.
Actually, he officiated at the marriage of my older daughter to a nice young man, Damian Loria, who Bobby knew because his parents were in the art community.
Oh, okay.
So he knew Damian. When Damian and Catherine decided to get married, they came to him and asked him to officiate.
I heard about it from Damien. We go to this ice bath place that helps me calm down when we get in the river. It helps a lot with my injuries, chronic injuries, like mostly knees and hips. So we get in and soak there. He saw that I was a veteran for my bracelets and everything, and he had mentioned this, and I came out and checked it out about 2 weeks later.
Well, my friend Martin introduced me to Robert, and I met Martin through his wife. We did a 3-year shamanic practitioner training together. And in that training, I really got involved with art, mostly stained glass, which is what I typically do. But I've always really wanted to learn how to weld and put stained glass and welding together in some big fashion. I don't know what yet exactly. Yeah, so Martin introduced me to Robert, and here I am.
About 10, 15 years ago, we started having these groups called Veterans Helping Veterans Now. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember those. Do you remember those? Yeah. And Bob Lacey was there, and I forget there was Myers, forget his name now. He started it, actually, he and his wife.
Right.
And so we had like encounter groups.
Not about that. And so the passion is really for it.
One of the things that I love about working on here is we can bring in young people. We can mix that with the older generation, mix that with the warrior generation, and it's a different sort of connection that doesn't happen normally. So Dan spent all his life, he's probably 72 or something in that range, he's in his 70s. He spent all his life in metal work, and he's a genius at it, and he is loving passing that off to a younger person. And that is an amazing thing to be able to do.
All right. Total control of that hammer now. Each hit, come down and really let it land.
So there never was a plan about what this is. There was just the idea that expression is the other side of depression, and I still believe that strongly today.
Too vulnerable.
Well, yeah, it's vulnerable, all right. I mean, our conversation was how do we capture all those inclinations of a warrior, you know, that are all important.
Yeah, it happened.
It
Not
happened.
necessarily from predetermined vision, but
No.
out of the collaboration and the applied craftsmanship, and putting a piece of steel up there and putting it in 3, 4, 5 different, 6 different positions, and repeatedly doing that. Because how many times have we got stuck from the cognitive or the idea, and we're button heads, and we stop, and we get a piece of steel, and we put it up there, and it, you know, it informs us.
And then it shows up.
It shows up. Yeah.
We were looking to build the eagle, which is transforming to a phoenix, which is transforming to a, you know, the sculpture. We needed some kind of structure to look at, and a hawk flew into my neighbor's garage through the plate glass window and died on his hood, and he brought over the skeleton of that hawk, and it came in exactly when we needed to do the study. So we used this to actually shape the phoenix's beak.
But anyway, he was pushing on that sadness kick again, and you know, and it's not that I didn't feel the sadness. It's when I finally did, it's overwhelming.
Yes.
And so encompassing, I felt like I was going to die, and I don't want to go back there again.
Never again.
I don't want to feel that kind of sadness ever again in my life.
And we do our best. And your job is to monitor the halfway point on the heart. You know, and if you miss it, it doesn't matter much. We can always trim it out. Because what's going to happen is we'll make half of this and then blend the other half together. So we want to get this nice and tight around there so that when we put in the punch outs, the sand doesn't come up through, because the sand will mess up the welding.
Energy into your hands and make these fingers tense. Tense this up and get like that. Now, the Phoenix heart, if you go to these points, and feel the felt sensor. That's Phoenix heart. So stand over there and let me tense up. Now you do Phoenix heart. And just be very soft, permeable, expansive. Have a sense of opening and receiving. That whole thing is heart. The whole thing is heart.
You're right.
It's got to be able to contain all the energies. And this is a focused energy.
Focused heart.
Warrior heart to do
Warrior
what it's
heart.
got to do.
This is lover heart.
Yeah.
This is going to sit up against this. So, my thought is that instead of cutting the whole back out, we cut out. Before I go in, what we're actually making is a third sculpture, and that third sculpture is the most important part of what we're doing. It's the space in between. This is where we walk down into a depression in the land, and we look up across at where we were and where we are now, and we get to look at the tension of opposites that we carry within our body. And war, every bit of war, lives in the sinews of the body, lives in the muscles, lives in the skeletal system, lives in the neck, lives in the brain, lives in the eyes. The war is present. When it comes home, it doesn't disappear, and it stays there for 50 years or more. however long they live. That's what I didn't understand as a civilian, that you don't get over this. It keeps coming around. And so our hope is to build a sanctuary where veterans can walk into here and see themselves in their transitional process, and know and understand that this is an age-old process, and you get to externalize that wound and see it for what it is. It's a place for civilians to walk in and learn how to listen to our veterans, not to help them, not to fix them, not to heal them. All of those words are not right. We need to learn how to be with veterans, how to share who we are with veterans, how to respect and be with who they are, no matter where they are in the process. And again, I say the mere asking for this is a certain failure, because we are all human. None of us knows how to do this. But the nature of the sculptures is, can we keep asking? Can we keep asking the questions over and over and over again? How do we bring our veterans home from war in a better way?
It's about the space in between that touches the heart and soul when you walk into it, so you can deal with what you feel that you can't put into words, and help you with the emotions of the experience and everything, and how you can connect with humanity, yourself, and others.
A young man sneaking up on the age of 21, shell-shocked, they're breaking me into the ways of war, learning quickly day in and day out, the blood of children on my hands, insanity shout, if I get out of here I'll never be the same. Anything soft you turn to stone, every day dreaming of getting back home, marching in with a hope and a prayer, coming out with a metal heart and 1,000 miles stare. They shipped us home, purple ribbon for our chests, but the battle didn't stop there. No rest, friends gather together, but it's hard to hear, with the killing fields in the background always yelling in my ear. I tried not to hide and learn natural at the party when I left, thinking it best. It's hard to I'm so glad you feel that way. I never know when I take it and I, take your story and turn it and then put it into this form, that's gonna ring as.
Well, I think that ending and talking about the cost of war and making that so loud, I mean, I think that goes beyond what I'd hoped for in telling people that we need to do something different.